Now we'll see the object services view. You can navigate to the object service view from the object tab in the application and from the API management view, and you can also create the services and use the existing ones already added in the account. You can also create an object service where basically you need to understand three things: data model, backend service provider, and the mapper. So if you understand all these three things, you can have a good view of object services. The data model is the core component of an objective service and the development plan. The data model functions as a vital contract between a client application and the backend development team. As a first step, the application design, you can create a data model which works for both the client application and the backend provider. Once the model is finalized, both the development teams can proceed with the respective development process without disrupting the other teams. So each functions are different and independent. Backend provider refers to the source of data for the application. Object services allows you to connect to multiple backend providers such as SAP, Salesforce, RDBMS, and so on. You can also have an option to create your own database schema using the storage connector, and mapper helps here to map the data model and the backend service provider, and visual mapper provides an intuitive way to connect to do the mapping, where you see the similar name related to the function that you would like to call, the same name of component that you would like to call, and make the search option and make the more visibility of the data and the function to the client or to the end user. uh, in this view graph, you see that object service require three things very important: data model that should be clear, function should be clear, and how it should look. So all these things first need to identify and created and well developed. Next is mapping, and mapping is required in terms of which function you would like to call, and how your software, how your program should look like, and the backend service provider, and where the data model can be mapped to the front end application. So if we talk about the workflow of the object services, there are four steps. The first one is selecting an endpoint type. Second one is configuring your data model. Third one is mapping operations to backend methods. And the fourth one is integrating object services in an application. So we start from the first one, selecting an endpoint type, and there are following endpoint types are supported for object services: integration and orchestration services, which involves all type of integration and orchestration process and methods. Next is storage services. So if organization provide different type of storage services for the specific function, then all those storage services comes under this type. And the third one is business adapters. Business adapters involve different type of models: SAP, RAML, relational database, MongoDB, and Salesforce. These are different organization which comes together and works as a business adapter, facilitate to use the different type of object services and integrate among them. Next one is configuring the data model. Under this, generating objects definition from metadata of backend provider or the objects can be created manually. The third one is mapping operation to backend methods. In this, uh, it can create mapping by using visual mapper. Visual mapper will show all the component, and where you can just click and drag into the operation into the system. Second one is enhancing the mapping by using XML mapper for advanced scenario, where XML mapper can be used for a specific function. And the fourth one is integrating object service in an application. So there are different methods using that this work can be achieved using Connie visualizer. It is one type of visualizer where the integration process can be done, and with non-Connie application which has different software development kits and the REST APIs, right? So these are the 4 steps that needs to be done for the object services. So I repeat again this workflow. First, the selecting an endpoint type that is necessary. So what type of integration, what type of services, what are the business adapter, that thing should be defined. Second one is configuring the data model. It is again very important. So once the endpoint is defined, you can configure the data model. After that, mapping operation to backend methods, that needs to be done, right? And once all the 3 steps done, the fourth one is integrating object services and an application. So that's the last part that needs to be done by the developer. Okay, so that is the workflow of the object services. I hope you have enjoyed this lecture. Thank you.